Very glad to be here and have the chance to tell you a little bit about our vision of the blockchain technologies. As you already said, I'm the product owner here at the Busch group and responsible for the mobility use cases in the what we call decentralized technologies, where blockchain is only one of it, and as well going into the next stage of using application on top of possible blockchain strategies. And they're looking directly a little bit more into the mobility use cases here. So let me tell you a little bit about Busch. Maybe you know that already. It's a quite diverse and big group in different sectors. I'm here responsible more for the mobility solutions, but as well we have industrial technology a lot in the factories. We have a lot of building technology and consumer goods, and everything here will be connected in the future. And therefore, we have this very, very big vision of really using the IoT in the future, so that we really then have the possibilities not only connect all these things, but generate lots of data with all of these products which will be out there and are communicating, and as well be able to explore new business models here. And but now the new area of blockchain technologies have begun, and there we have a quite new interesting stuff in it. So when we look at the cryptocurrency part, for example, this gives us very, very interesting new possibilities of paying, of course, digitally. But the other thing here, decentralization and trust, is another very, very big thing that we have to look at in terms of business models and products at the end. But now it gets interesting, the machine-to-machine value exchange, because we talk here about a complete new dimension of the economy of things. So the things not only are communicating via data, they communicate as well via value. And so they are able now to make business with each other. And as well, we have a new area as well, because we come now to new autonomous legal entities when they are autonomously can communicate with each other, underlying with these decentralized technologies, which makes this possible. Then we get as well to other very interesting legal issues here too. So a quick look on the history, what we did already in terms of blockchain at Busch. So we started, I think, now 4 years ago in a huge central project, looking at all these different aspects. We started, of course, looking at these further generations of blockchains, and as well now looking at more the advanced generations that you already heard as well, what advances we had in the last years. But as well, of course, we look at the use cases and the next steps that we would like to achieve when we are able to use blockchain and as well the application on it. So to come really to an economy of things, we need to really understand, okay, how to use these digital currencies, maybe in a car or e-wallet, that a car is possible to pay digitally for services. We need to have digital notary and digital identity services in the car so that the car can be authorized and authenticated to pay so digitally. And later on, of course, to do the brokerage stuff, we need to be able to use smart contracts, and as well, maybe in a more economic sense, like to do that trading, for example, energy trading, when you look at the electromobility use cases, what you can think of in the future. And all these steps really, when we go through these, we come to very interesting new areas of business models and products. However, what we see these days is we have a huge development in platforms these days, which are central and monopolistic organized. So blockchain and decentralized technology helps us here really to solve this deadlock which comes up if everybody wants as well to put up their business models with their own platforms. And so maybe really these decentralizations, blockchain technologies gives us here a solution. And that's why we call it the economy of things. However, the next big problems that we saw these days is the trust problem that we have in the IoT. So big players with their big platforms are coming into place here and have some kind of a mighty that is really, we have to control a little bit more, I think. And we see this in current governmental activities. In the European Union that does a lot with these new Gaia X projects and programs and all that. And so we would like to do anything a little bit against this because the fair markets are not really here. Because what you normally see is this huge platforms grow ever bigger, and all the other platforms, if you think about the IoT in the future, will get smaller and smaller and do not have really the control that we need for these new products in the future. So they have their own distribution channels, revenue streams, and customer relationships, put these at risk. And so we really have to have a solution for that. And what we see, one example here could be digital identities based on blockchains. So this is the main focus that we look at for in terms of new products and business models and possibilities to use these blockchain things that we see here. So this can be opportunities for a complete new ecosystem here with all the big partners in industry that we see here in Germany and as well in Europe, of course. And when they all come together in a decentralized network and using this decentralized identity, then we have lots of interesting opportunities in terms of what about these new trusted digital relationships, trusted in terms of anyone has now its own identity. We have a solution here in terms of the GDPR regulations that we see coming to us, and as well in the cross-border collaboration with these decentralized identities where you do not have to trust only the big platforms. This is a very new, interesting chance for new business models here as well. And one very interesting model that we already tried out is just here for one example, a parking possibility. So this is just one placeholder for all the interesting new business models which are possible if you have a decentralized identity, because you now can communicate with parking lots, parking space, which are not discovered without these. So if you go to any company, any parking lot, which is connected to decentralized identities, then the car and the parking lot communicate with each other without registered on a central platform. And then you can park, pay for the parking. Maybe you can share a charge as well there if there is a charging pole. And then you can really use this own digital identity, which your car has, and consume these interesting new services in the new Internet of Things of these identities. So this is just one use case, which is atop on this blockchain layer, which are then enable the digital identities. So really going a little bit deeper, you can always contact me and we can talk about this, because we do a lot of public projects at the moment, talk to a lot of partners out there. But in a summary, what I would like to get to you as information as well, the Internet of Things, as we talk and discuss it all, is really one of the biggest futures that we see for the most interesting, for the most industry. However, since we do not see really trust is going quite easy over there or everywhere, and though it's a crucial concept in the Internet of Things, we need to have a solution here. So what we think about is really in terms of decentralization, which is really inevitable for trust. And that is one of the possibilities what we see in, for example, self-sovereign identities or decentralized digital identities based on these blockchain structures. And when I say blockchain here, that's quite interesting because we looked at a lot of different blockchain technologies. And the good thing here is the complete decentralized digital identity ideas are blockchain agnostic. So we are independent of the used technology unless it's really decentralized. And then we can use all the blockchain structures, technologies which are there. And we are working on several ones on a European layer, for example, ID Union or Hyperledger networks or Ethereum. So SSI, self-sovereign identity, will work on most of them, which is one very interesting thing. And that's what we're starting at. And here you see this diagram, what you can really find on a lot of publications these days. When we talk about digital identities, this is one of the most common diagrams you will find when you look at self-sovereign identity, which is, as I said, based on these blockchain structures that we find there. And here is what we're starting these days with our IoT vision in mobility, in industry, and all the other sectors. And I showed you this one example where we look at deep parking, but we can do this as well in charging infrastructures. We do this in zoning, for example, to drive into cities. We are using this in the future as well in other use cases where you need identity, and that's a lot. That's, I think, the overview of my presentation. Again, if you have more questions, just contact me, and then we can discuss this a little bit deeper. Thanks.